This computer. Okay. So welcome everyone to the second meeting that we've had here to discuss Brew City Gunners and the future of the organization and the structure and whatever else that we want to make it. If you guys, like I said, if you missed the first meeting, you can go back and watch it. I posted the YouTube video. I kind of went through the beginning stuff, the basics about where we are, how we got here, and sort of why it's kind of been a one-person show up until this point. So if there's any other, like I said, if you guys want to talk about any of that kind of stuff, just bring it up. But basically, I guess what we're looking for at this point is I invited Jeff Werner here from, like I said, he's a board member of Arsenal America, also on the board of the Boston Gooners group, which I'm going to assume is a little bit larger than ours. So he knows some stuff about organizations and how different branches run and different things like that. And so I asked him here to just sort of give some ideas and some different thoughts about, kind of what people want to do with things, because we do have just part of why we're trying to go towards this model, right? So if you look on the agenda, I'm kind of skipping around a few things here. So at point number 3 on the agenda, one of the reasons why we're doing this, I mean, aside from the fact that there are a few members, a few people that were dissatisfied with the way things are being run and wanted to see more things and other things and different people being involved in that structure. And so that's kind of the main instigator for what the meeting's about. But we also, the other stuff on there for, like I said, point 3 is that as being an official branch of Arsenal America, we are literally a direct supporters club of Arsenal. And so that does require certain things to be done on our end. And one of the things that we have coming up in our new guidelines is this idea of having some kind of branch board structure, basically more than one person, just in case, whatever, if I just got run over by a truck or something tomorrow or whatever, God forbid, what would happen, what's going to go on, who knows what's happening, those kinds of things. We want, at least for me, my number one, my biggest goal is I want the continuity to continue. I think that we have a lot of room to expand. We have room to grow. We have room for new voices, but I also don't want to disconnect from, being an official branch part of the club. So that's also part of the discussion with that. So I'll throw it over to you, Jeff. I'm sorry, I'm kind of throwing you in the deep end, but I don't know if you want to just sort of kind of talk maybe a little bit about the recommendations and talk a little bit about maybe what some of the, like what you guys do in Boston, what some of the other branches, kind of how they operate and that sort of thing.
Yeah, allow me to introduce myself and give you some background on myself very quickly. I don't want to take much of your time, nor do I want to necessarily influence your decision-making process other than being a resource and a mediator if necessary. I have been involved with Boston Gooners in a leadership role since 2011, and I have been chairman of the group since 2013. I have also added Secretary of Arsenal America to my since early 2018. Basically, I came into my role as chairman of Boston Gooners because my predecessor threw a temper tantrum and quit over a venue move. And according to the bylaws that we had, because he also forced out his own vice president at the time as a quid pro quo for pissing off, I was the only officer left. And because we had bylaws, we had a structure, we had a succession plan, I got it by default. Now, since then, I've been reelected popularly 3 or 4 times. Because of the tumult that was involved with that transition, we made a decision because of our size, which even then, I mean, we're talking 2013, 2014 now. I mean, we were big-ish, but not like we were now. And there's a lot of reasons for that, not the least of which being just the state of the game in the United States, et cetera, so on and so forth. Also, Arsenal America and its network of branches is so much more well-developed now that it is much easier for supporters who want to be involved in the supporters club to find that supporters club and be a part of it if they so desire. We chose the elections and annual general meeting route. That is not a one size fits all. Marty just asked, what is the size of Boston Gooners? We, pre-COVID, I would have expected 250 to 300 people yesterday. We had between 150 and I think 175 yesterday or Sunday. So big enough. We don't keep a member roster for a lot of reasons, not the least of which being data privacy. We don't want to be in charge of that information. And quite frankly, we don't need it. We make a very strong point that we don't have members. If you want to be a member, you can become a member of Arsenal America, and there are benefits for that. But one of the most constant questions that I get, particularly from eager new people, is how do I get involved with the group? And particularly if I'm asked the question in the pub on the day, I say you already are involved with the group. The way that you get involved by the group is being there. The way that you get involved by the group is hanging out after the match, talking to your neighbors, getting to know people, really investing yourself with the people of the branch and then taking it from there. One of the things that we're trying to push forward in the new branch guidelines, which I really hope we're going to get out next week, there's a line in there. It's something that we believe very strongly, and that is that a branch is the people who comprise it. Everything else is kind of icing. So good. Just going back to myself real quick. We came up with this system because of the contentiousness of that aborted move, whereby we have 4 elected officers, and it's staggered. We have a chairman, myself, a vice chairman, a treasurer, and a 4th officer. We call it manager, kind of tongue-in-cheekly. Originally, the role was supposed to be sort of, how did we phrase it? In charge of match days, basically. And it ended up getting rolled back into myself for a lot of reasons. And now there's sort of a community involvement. My words are not working today. I'm sorry. I've been staring at a computer for too long. Community involvement. Also, like not the broader community, like our internal community. He's a point of contact for people. So he's kind of a Swiss Army knife, that role. We also have, and we staggered it, the chairman and treasurer, even numbered years, and the vice chairman and the manager are odd number years or vice versa. In addition to that, and we've changed this quite a bit over the last 6, 7, 8 years, how long it's been. We have 3 at-large directors who do not have a specific portfolio. Their roles vary. One of the things that we tried to avoid when we came up with the current structure was to avoid delineating too many specific titled jobs, because that gets too rigid. Just because someone's really good at social media, A, doesn't mean that they necessarily should become a board member of something, or B, social media officer doesn't necessarily need to be a title given to someone. That can be rolled into another job. It can be an at-large person's job for the time that they're on the board, so on and so forth. So one of the things that I would suggest is that you don't get too wrapped up in the notion of titles beyond the branch manager. If you choose to go a route where there are titles, that's great. But let's remember that ostensibly we're all on the same side here. And what we want here is for Brew City Gunners to be the best Brew City Gunners that it can be. So whatever you choose as a group to go forward, it is less about what you're calling these things and more about who's filling the roles and why. anyway, to finish, those 4 at-large members are the last thing excuse me, sorry, I just knocked a ton of stuff over. No, I'll get it later. All right. The last thing an outgoing board does before our we go with the FIFA calendar, so our year is July 1st to June 30th. So whatever that last board meeting is in June, the last thing that we do is that the existing board votes, nominates internally, and then votes on the at-large members. And basically, every member of the board is invited to offer nominations, give a short spiel as to why they think they'd be good, and then we do a first past the post system to actually do that. Originally, we had done it as 6-month terms because we wanted to build in turnover even within a season because we wanted to keep people involved. Over time, we decided that we didn't need to do that anymore. There wasn't really any need for that much churn. So we changed it. First, we changed it to year terms, and then later on, we removed the cap. We used to have it capped, and I don't even remember what that term limit was. I think it was 2 consecutive terms, and then you had to sit out, and then you could come back if you wanted to. We got to a point where our leadership group was trusted, liked, et cetera, enough that we removed the built-in churn because there was no demand for it anymore. Our group, our cohort was trusted and liked enough. We'd lost a couple of people because of the term limits that would have stayed on and were good board members. So what I'm saying with this, and I'm sorry that I'm so rambly tonight, is that we saw something that was part of our system. We realized it didn't need to be the way that it was anymore, and we changed it. But also that creativity and coming up with these structures is a good thing. I want to take just an opportunity to say, as the person who literally wrote the sentence about the board structure, we wrote it very specifically, vaguely. And what I want to draw your attention to is what it doesn't say. It says you need to have a board or leadership structure. It doesn't say that you need to have X number of people. It doesn't say you need to have X number of roles. Shit, it doesn't even say they have to be elected. That is all up to you. What we are saying is that a branch should not be any one individual's personal kingdom. And B, as a protection to whoever is the branch manager and protection to whoever is the branch, they should not be doing everything by themselves. They should at least ostensibly on paper have some help. How you choose to make that work for yourselves is up to you guys. And, you know, speaking very specifically from an Arsenal America perspective on that, that's really important. When we release these, we're going to announce that we're going to be doing a Zoom question and answer session, probably during the international break, because that, among a couple of other things, I think, are people are going to lose their shit over until they realize what we actually mean by it. There's no one size fits all solution for this. Everything needs to be bespoke to the group that's doing it. Am I doing all right, Matt? Is there anything else you'd like me to add?
Okay, so I gotta find the unmute button. Just if you have, I know as
I've got a little bit. When I gotta go, I'll let you know.
Yeah, if you have any other, I don't know if you have any other just off the cuff like examples that you specifically know about of other branches, maybe other structures. I know I don't want to, I don't want.
I mean, the only comparison I can give you to what I explained we do here is that the cohort that comprised the Arsenal America board before ours, in cohorts previous to the current one, and there have been good ones and bad ones, and the one before us was by and large very good, but there ended up being some internal push and pull type strife. As a result of that, at some point within the last 5 or 6 years, the hierarchy was removed from the Arsenal America board. We do have titles and we do have specific roles, but we are a hierarchyless board. ostensibly, if there was to be a in charge or president type person, it would probably be me because of the responsibilities that I have. But I don't act that way. I mean, I run the meetings. That's kind of the thing. And it works for that situation. What we have in Boston works for that situation. What's important is that you come up with a system that protects the individuals from being overburdened by the group and the group from being at the mercy of individuals, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's perfectly sensible.
We've had too many cases in the past of branches popping up, sometimes very rapidly and with a large initial community for the size of wherever it was coming from. And then it's like an insect that grows from a larva to full adult and dies within an hour its entire lifespan, because normally those types of branches center around a charismatic individual who may or may not see the need for help, probably doesn't have it, and then all of a sudden they get a job in Spokane. Like,
yeah,
normal life stuff happens. And then there's the possibility of interpersonal issues and so on and so forth, which I don't even want to touch because that's beyond the purview of anything else. But, I think the tension, the compromise that you're trying to come up with is that what protects the group from any one individual, and then what protects the people who are in leadership roles from being either overburdened by the group and protecting the group from providing continuity is what I'm saying. So if someone goes, at least there's someone that can sit in as a stopgap until you choose to decide what to do. And I would also suggest that, we're not running a Fortune 500 company here. We're not running a municipal government. Don't get too hung up on formalities, at least in the kicking the tires phase of things. You may end up trying a couple of different things over time. That's okay. I mean, going back to what we put in the guidelines and the questions and answers that we're sure we're going to get about it, one other thing that we didn't put in there, although we might, but give it like until next year or something, we didn't put a time on it. It doesn't say you need to have a board yesterday. It also doesn't say you need to have a board tomorrow. And there are a couple of cases of some older branches that basically are people's personal fiefdoms. And it's not like they're doing it for ego purposes or anything like that. It's just the way that it developed. And I know that in one particular case with one particular branch, it's someone who has been doing it since day one and has always had help. But when he has tried to solicit help in the form of a specific, delineated, categorized role, it didn't necessarily work out. So people would help on an as-needed basis. So I think in your case, this is just my perception, I could be completely wrong. I think that what you want is something in the middle there between having delineated, categorized, blah, 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 blah roles and something off the cuff.
Yeah, I think at least from what we're seeing, I think that's probably a good idea, at least to start off with, because I don't think anybody, I don't know, I shouldn't say that. I don't want to have to deal with like Robert's Rules of Order situation when we have a branch meeting or whatever else. Like, I get enough of that stuff in my daily life, so definitely
the only time we ever do that is basically we do the best that we can based upon what those of us who are in organizations in college remember how to do for specifically and very specifically voting on things. Like, we talk out of turn all over each other over our meetings all the time. Like, nobody, and I mean nobody, including myself, especially myself, expect anybody to do any of that shit.
Okay, that's a good idea.
And with that, I yield.
I was just going to ask you one more thing, just for my own curiosity. All right, well, just for my own curiosity, like, and I know obviously it's not a necessary like equivalency with kind of the size of our group and the size of your group, but just like in general, what kind of like contact, like what kind of contact and interaction do the board members have on a daily, weekly, monthly basis? Like, how do you guys organize? Like, what? How do you sort of have it broken down as far as like who does what?
Like all of us are public facing on match days that are there. At the moment, I mean, I know that at least myself and my vice chairman have access to the email account. Both myself and the vice chairman have access to all of our social media. I know that the treasurer has access, I think has access to all the social media. At the moment, because we're down a couple of people who stepped down over the course of the last year and we haven't replaced them yet, I'm doing the social media right now, even though I hate it, except for Twitter. But one of the things that I need a couple more bodies. So we're looking for a couple more at-large directors. And because one of the things I don't want to do is look over our Facebook and Instagram every 20 seconds, one of the things I'm looking for is someone who, the way that we tend to get to the nominating of people for the at-large positions is, that's not the right way of putting it. The approach that we take, we want people to make themselves known to us by hanging out, by being around, by some sort of example. And it's worked very well for us over the years. And then the people that make themselves known to us are the ones whose names comes up when we have those discussions as a board. But going back to the original question that you asked, it's very ad hoc's not the right word. It's very situational. And the way that we have something delineated today isn't necessarily the way that we'll delineate it tomorrow. And that's something very much that we've learned by experience. We were locked into a super rigid role structure for the first couple of years I was in charge. Some of that I inherited, some of it I came from a place with thinking that a small b bureaucratic, setup was the way to go. And it is, but only to a point, and we were taking it way too far.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if anybody else has any questions or anything that you guys want to talk to or ask Jeff about as far as that kind of stuff goes, because I feel like we've taken up a lot of his valuable time.
Don't worry about my time. Like I said, when I gotta go, I'll go.
I'm trying to be nice, but
And you are, and I appreciate it. But I'm also here to help, and I've got a little longer that I can be around, so don't worry about me.
So, did anybody else have any kind of questions or any of that other kind of stuff? So otherwise, I think we can.
I don't have any questions. I mean, I guess until we kind of figure out some nuts and bolts, it's probably hard to know what questions to ask.
And you know what? To follow up on what you just said there, I'm happy to come back another night if you guys want that. But if you don't need me, it would probably be best for y'all to sort through your stuff without me, and then I'd be happy, like I said, at some point in the future to come back. But I will admonish is definitely not the right word. I will encourage you all to approach the task at hand for yourselves with a spirit of working together. You're not all going to see it the same way, but I do actually believe that you have the same ultimate goal, and that's to have a quality supporters club. So try and check the personalities at the door and do what you can to do the best for the group in a way where things that aren't necessarily personal, even if they might be, get through what you've got to get to and then deal with the details later.
Okay. Yeah, I understand what you're saying, Chris. Definitely. I mean, that's the thing. We're kind of in this position right now where we're still sort of trying to figure that out, what it should be or what it should look like or whatever.
As far as we're concerned, if you don't have this figured out by October 15th, I don't care. If you don't have it figured out by November 15th, I don't care. If you don't have it figured out by May 15th, I might start caring. But get it right is better than get it quick.
Okay. For sure. All right. I don't know. Again, anybody else? Any last anything that you might be thinking of? Like I said, I know maybe it's difficult to to know what to ask. But
I mean, one thing that I will just sort of parting wordsably say is that I want to make it clear to all of you guys, and I'm sorry that I don't know any of you well besides Matt here, but Milwaukee is a major American city, and we are proud to have a branch there. It's important to us that we have a branch there. And whether you pull 5 people a match or 500 people a match, we have a positively symbiotic relationship with the branches. And, you know, every branch adds something to the fabric of this tapestry that is this nationwide supporters club that there is nothing like for any other football club in the United States. And it works the other way too. We have things that we can help you guys with. We bring something to each of the branches, whether it's helping you market events, whether it's financial assistance, whether it's whatever, whether it's you're got a regular who just turned 50 and you want to get a letter from Arteta. Like, that's things that we do.
damn, dude, that was 4 months ago. Why didn't you tell me?
I was told there would be no math. But seriously, like, whatever you guys decide, as long as it does not turn into a he said, she said kind of thing. He said, they said, whatever. We'll support your decision, but we want you as part of our national organization, and that's important to us. And I will do whatever I can to help shepherd you guys through what isn't, you know, this isn't fun. There's no other way to say it. These types of processes are never enjoyable. But if you do them right, what you'll get out of them most certainly will be. And I will do whatever I can to help you guys.
Okay. Yeah, if that's anything else, otherwise, yeah, thanks, Jeff. Thanks for your time.
My pleasure. Give me a buzz if you need anything else.
All right, we'll do. Thank you.
There you guys. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Okay. So just some, like I said, some ideas. I know it's the hardest part is just everything just seems really nebulous, and it's difficult to kind of start getting a grasp on stuff. So if we want to start talking about this, I know that, like I said, I'm not sure if we should just kind of talk about it. What do you guys think? Just sort of get some stuff down. I know we had on the agenda some of the ideas, and we want to kind of get things moving a little bit. But I'm also torn to a certain degree as far as, like, do we have enough stakeholders? Are there enough, should we have a bigger crowd or a bigger group of people, making decisions or whatever? Or should we just, at this point, just kind of talk about what we want to see and get some ideas? I mean, we can talk over, if you guys want to look at the agenda, the biggest questions that we got on there, right? So if we're going to have like a board structure, I think the important thing, at least from what I got from what he said, is this idea that not to have like these specific roles, maybe like you're this person and you do this, and you're that person and you do that. At least from my point of view, like being, kind of tried to run everything the last 7-8 years, there's obviously lots of room for other people to be involved. Like there's, at least from my point of view, there's, if somebody is very passionate about community projects or wants to be involved with fundraising or like charity drives or wants to kind of spearhead that sort of stuff, I don't know if that should be the job of one person, or if it should be more of a on the basis of, each different thing. Like if you feel really passionate about your Alzheimer's walk and you want to bring that to the group, like should that one person who feels passionate wants to bring it, should they just be the person that deals with that? Or should there be like a person that is kind of in that, job, I guess. So I don't know what the only thing I have, like I said, this is all new to me as well. Yeah, go ahead, Marty.
Yeah, my gut feeling, just looking at this and whatnot, and listening to I forget his name already, listening to him is I like the idea, like you were just talking about, is we don't. Yeah, there's the branch manager. I'm looking at number of board members. I'd say we
Mhm.
have, because the size of ours. I would say we do something like 3 and then 2 at large, and similar sort of idea, and then people, obviously, if someone wants to step, do in charge of match day, I mean, Matt, you've been doing that for years, so that, whatever. But if you don't want to do that anymore, I'm sure someone else would be more than happy to do that. I think it's maybe more of, not necessarily in charge of, like, if someone wants to do community stuff, yeah, but maybe someone should, that's kind of like their, uh, on match days, they go around and say, well, I'm thinking about doing this thing, get the feedback, and then maybe someone will jump up and say, and help. And that person maybe is not at large, but, can, take off, and they work together and do that. So that's kind of the amorphous sort of, like, you're not pinned down, but you're to absolutely 100% do that unless you really want to. And then sure, but I wouldn't say that, whatever we call the people, it's not like we're going to have a social media manager, right? It's, a couple people do it, and those people communicate on how they're going to kind of do it, and that just works, right? So that's my gut feeling on all of that.
Yeah, that sounds good. I mean, the rest of you,
That's all I
like
got.
the other people, I don't know, maybe, as I say, Stacy just left. The rest of you guys, I don't know, what do you guys think about any of this kind of stuff? I don't know if you have any different takes. I don't know if you want to go around the room and just sort of like, I'm too used to being a teacher, just like randomly call on everyone and tell me what you think about this. But so like, what do you think? I don't know, like Nick, what are you feeling, man? Like, what's your feeling just in general about everything? Like, what do you just like, kind of what are you feeling?
I'm not personally fully aware of the workload that would have to be delegated, and I don't see anyone really needing a direct, role. I mean, really, if somebody comes up with something they want to do, I think that's a great idea to let them do it, while with the support of the gang. I don't know. I feel like having a bunch of at-large roles would fit best, but also I'm not sure.
Okay, well, let me just throw it out there. Like, some of the things that I see, at least some of the stuff that I think that we could use extra people on. So there's a couple different things, right? So at least from my point of view, we have I think that, like, having a crew of people, I think having however many people, whether it's 3 people, 5 people, whatever, to be, how I want to say, sort of like hype people at the match day, like, to just be the people
Sure.
that are kind of just walking around, like, if they see anybody that they don't recognize, like, making them feel welcome, just sort of kind of being hosts, I guess, like, you want to kind of put it that
For
way.
sure.
Because one of the things that I'm feeling like burnt out with is, and I mean, I don't know, maybe, I know you guys don't know me that well exactly, but like, I'm actually a fairly like introverted person. It takes me a lot of energy to like work a crowd.
For
And
sure.
so sometimes, like, there are certain things that like this past Sunday, right? I feel like a couple people stepped up, like Julio, and he was here in the last meeting, but he couldn't make it, I guess, today. Like, Julio Cesar, he was kind of hyping things up, and he was organizing people, and he was like, hey, come on guys, let's get a picture, like, and doing that kind of stuff, like bringing that energy. That I might want to do those things, but sometimes I just like either feel tired, or like maybe I feel, I don't know what, anxious or something about like putting myself out there and like doing that. Like, I've done that before in the past, but it's like a struggle. So that's something for me, maybe that's like, we could have people that are doing that kind of stuff. Because I know that one of the things that one of the issues that we have had is that it's maybe the match day, like the match day experience, maybe for some people is feeling a little stale, I guess. You know, on Sunday we tried to make a big effort to like get people singing and doing stuff like we used to do. Like we had done that in the past quite a lot, but it sort of fell off because it requires like you need to have like 4 or 5 or 6 people that know all the songs so that if one person starts something that the other people can jump in, and that way anyone else that's in the crowd, like they can learn it or they can just pick up on it that way, because there's nothing sadder than somebody starting a song by themselves and finishing by themselves and nobody else joins in. But just like, so that kind of stuff I could see as being something that people can do that doesn't necessarily require like some kind of title. You know what I'm saying? Like if so that could be whether, you know, however we want to do that, if that's just like at large members, or, you know, we just want to call it like the hype crew or the match day squad.
Yeah, I don't see any reason why that needs to be anything special. You know?
Yeah, the only thing I could see just with that is just that it doesn't have to be super organized, but at least if people are kind of doing that they maybe keep in touch with each other a little bit and just be like, okay, you know, what are we going to do? You know, here's, I learned this new song off Twitter for Saka and Smith Rowe. Let's learn this song and let's like, you know, figure that out. Cause like I've tried to do that kind of stuff in the past, which is why I have that crazy list of songs that I compiled. But just, you know, any of that kind of stuff like that's something that we could do. A couple other things that could be done. There could be, if anybody, and again, this is all really situational. If anybody has any kind of like graphic design skills or has an idea for, you know, like doing something or, you know, whatever. And I know that that's hard to just throw out there because if you don't, you don't. Like I half-assed every logo and every shirt and everything that we've ever had using a freeware program called GIMP on my computer by barely knowing what I'm doing. So if there's, you know, if there's other people that can do that kind of stuff, we can have people, you know, like he said, like sharing responsibility for certain things. Like we have a group fund of money that I've been keeping from stuff that we've done over the last 8 years, like sales of shirts and things. Like anytime anybody buys a scarf from me at the bar, it goes into the account. So we have about $550, I guess, in there right now. So I could see, you know, like if 1 or 2 people like want to have their name put on the bank account and deal with that kind of stuff. Like, I mean, again, maybe people don't want to get involved in that or don't want to be responsible for that. I don't know, but that's something that's there. There's like a lot of, I guess that's the thing, right? There's like a lot of different things that we could do. I guess the key thing is like, I think that the main idea is that we're trying, you know, at least trying to get like a decentralized group of people that are okaying things.
Yes.
Rather than it just coming from one person or everything being responsible for one person. So I think that we can make it up and we could decide, like, if we just want to say like there's 3 people on the board and then there's 2 other at-large people or whatever, and that then you figure out what those people do or hash it out or talk it out or whatever. We could do that.
So Matt, maybe you know, I'm pretty new to the group. You know, certainly I haven't done a whole lot of meetings or things like that. You know, I thought this kind of started because you were feeling a little overwhelmed, like there was too much to do. And I'm guessing, you know, the whole idea of a board came up because Arsenal America says we have to have one. You know, I don't know where that came from before.
Well, let me actually, Chris, let me just, I'll clarify that point. That's not necessarily the reason. That's not specifically the reason. The the honest truth is that a few months, like whatever, a month or something ago, that's someone from the group basically came to me and said that there was a group of people that were not happy with the way things are being run. And I, at the time, didn't really understand what it meant. I took it personally, which after I went and I talked to Jeff there and kind of hashed it out. And, you know, that the board member, the structure thing was sort of just an after, you know, like a coincidence kind of thing where, you know, I did basically, I mean, the reality of it is like, I didn't feel like I didn't understand it, but I came to understand what the issue was. And I think that the issue is the fact that there should be more than one person involved in making decisions about what happens. So
I don't disagree with that.
yeah, that's where it came. That's really where it came from. It's just sort of a coincidence that this board structure thing was put into the current guidelines that haven't actually come out yet. So it's a coincidence that happened at the same time, which just sort of came up because I mean, like I said, I went into this during the first meeting and I kind of went through how everything got to be the way it is, just because that at the beginning when things are getting going, that like I was put in charge because there wasn't anyone else that was there. And so I kind of just started doing everything. I did the social media, I did the designs, I did the stuff. And I always just kind of felt like, well, I got a handle on it. I'm good. You know, I'm doing okay. I'm, you know, but that's not really, you know, the reality of it is that there are other people should have a chance to be involved. I'm not going to be doing this forever. I'm getting old and tired. Like I said, if I knew that they could get me a letter from Arteta for being 50, I would have been fucking trying really hard to get that back in May. So I'm old, you know, I'm 50 years old this year, and I'm just, you know, I love the group. I love the people that I've met. I've never regretted any of it. I've had a great time. And, you know, we've had a lot of ups and downs over the seasons. And, you know, it's probably a good thing that other people can take over and it continues to live, and, you know, regardless of whatever happens. So I really want you to understand that that's really the driving force behind what's going on.
So again, I'm new, and if I'm talking about the wrong things, let me know. I guess it feels to me like we're getting about very specific things, and I'm not even sure that we have an understanding about the more bigger general things. Like, you know, again, it's our group. So what are we trying to do? I mean, you know, it's kind of like, what do we want from the group? What are we trying to accomplish as a group? You know, I mean, I guess, you know, again, the whole Arsenal America thing, I didn't know anything about Arsenal America until you told me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think Facebook suggested the group to me, I think. You know, maybe I liked some Arsenal posts. I don't know. So to me, I guess I'm trying to figure out what people are unhappy about, or what we're not doing that we want to be doing, so we can try to figure out how to make a plan to do that. I mean, I think it makes sense, Matt, that you shouldn't have to be responsible for everything. And as you said earlier, you know, heaven forbid something bad happens, what happens to everything else with the group? So obviously, I think we need to take care of that. But on the flip side, I don't know that we need to be like so focused on, you know, who's going to make a logo for this weekend or something like that. I mean,
Right.
You know, I mean, I think that it's like, it kind of feels to me, and again, you know, I just thought this was a group of people who like to watch Arsenal games together, and, you know, in the middle of a crazy, you know, 1 in 100, you know, year situation, it was nice to be able to interact with some other people that you had a common interest with, and that's how I got started. So I don't know, what the goal of the group is, and what goals people have that they don't think we're accomplishing or that we're not doing a good job with. And
Okay.
so, to me, it seems like before we get into all this, board members and Arsenal America and at large, and who's going to teach songs and all that stuff, I think we gotta lay some more ground for what we want.
Yeah, I think, and again, I 100% appreciate what you're saying. Look, the reality of it is, like, that's all right. Yeah, sorry, Stacy. Thanks for coming. The reality of it is, like, 99.9% of what the purpose of this group is to watch Arsenal games with people in a bar and drink beer. That's what the purpose of the group is. How, the other stuff on top of that is just the other stuff, right? And like I said, for me, I don't think we have to delineate specific roles for what people are doing. It's more like decentralizing and giving other people and giving more, giving other people a chance if they want to be sort of helping to carry the load or doing whatever, or being part of the decision-making process, at least as far as how things go. So that's the thing. Like, for people, like, if you're, for some people that aren't concerned, like one of my longest friends at the bar, a guy named Rio, he doesn't give a shit about anything else. He wants to go there and he wants to sit there and he wants to drink beer and he wants to watch the match. He doesn't care about any other stuff. Like, he doesn't care. And that's fine. If that's all that people want, that's perfectly fine. I think that's great. And part of me is like, I kind of want to be that person, honestly. So it's really,
Yeah, it's Matt. It's good. Let's just sit there and drink.
I know. It's like, I just, I said, I don't know. It's like, I said this, I've been saying this kind of quote to myself the last couple of weeks, whereas like, it's hard to feel responsible for other people's happiness sometimes. And I'm not saying that that's the case, but I just,
Matt,
if you take, when
I
you're,
think the first thing we need to do.
yeah, sorry, go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, I'm going to raise my hand. That's how I get called on, right?
Okay. I think there's a button for
Again,
that.
I think that the main again, I think the main thing, and I'm going to go back to what you were talking about with a few people were kind of upset with things. I think and we talked about this personally together.
Mhm.
It can't be just your job to make everyone happy, right?
Right.
So again, and yes, I'm sorry, I don't, Mr. iPad,
Chris.
I don't know, Chris. Hi, Chris. I'm Marty. So I think we don't need to like delineate the roles of the people. I think and this is my opinion, and I think what we do is we figure out how many people are going to get together and start hashing out what the real like document that is the thing that then gets changed as it's no longer relevant, or it's we realize that we made a bad mistake here, whatever. And that's where it comes. So my takeaway from this meeting should be somehow we figure out whether it's, well, maybe we don't have to figure it out, but we're gonna try and find 5 people that want to be part of this structure, and however those 5 people kind of figure that out, with the help of Arsenal America, in Boston Gooners, because they've kind of went through that sort of thing, and a really shitty thing too, right? So yeah, so my takeaway is sooner than later we should figure out 5 people that want to sit down and figure out what the first document should be. And yes, then it can change a month from now or a year from now or whatever. And again, roles shouldn't, what we name them, I really don't care. Person 1, person 2, person 3, at large 1, or at large 2, who cares, right? And then, or branch manager, person 1, person 2, or member, however we go. And then branch manager clearly has a set role. Everyone else is meant to support that person however best they want. Maybe one session on the board, someone really is interested in community stuff. Fine, they take that over and they do that, and it's just kind of understood that they do that, right? And then the next time it comes through, and then if that person's not doing it, the other board members should go, hey, Fred, how come we haven't done this in a while? Or how come we don't have a new T-shirt in the past, I don't know, 6 months or whatever, right? However often we want to do that sort of thing. And that's my takeaway from here, is that we should, sooner than later, we should figure out if it's 5 and 2, 3 and 2, whatever. And I think 3 and 2 works for our size. And then, get people to say, hey, I want that job, and figure it out. That's my takeaway from this whole thing here.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. And so like
That's probably a good place to start.
Yeah.
Is
I
put it
think
out there,
so.
hey, we're thinking we're gonna get 4 more people to try to help make decisions with the group, or do you want to be involved in that?
Yeah, so that's the thing, like Chris, I want to make it clear, and I do want to make that clear, that if you don't want to be involved in any of that kind of stuff, that's fine. Like if you just want to hang out, just want to come, you just know that it's going to be a good environment, that it's going to be a good crowd, that you're going to have, some good atmosphere or whatever, and be with other people. That's cool. If that's what you want to do. I think there's other things too. Like, I think part of also what Jeff said is like, if somebody wants to run like the Brew City Gunners TikTok account, they don't have to be a branch manager, like if somebody wants to do that, they can just be like, yeah, I can do that. And if they want to do it, they can do it. Like, it doesn't have to be a thing, it doesn't have to be a role or something that people are given. Because some people want to get, it's just like anything else, right? It's the same, any kind of politics, any kind of stuff, right? Like some people, they don't want to be out there marching or doing things or knocking on doors, they don't want to do that. They want to just do what they do. And then there's other people that do more stuff, and there's other people that whatever, all those different levels, I think, can be fine. And I think really for me, if you want to just kind of put it like this, I mean, and that's kind of what we had on the agenda here. I know there's a lot of specific, kind of more specific stuff on here, but just I think from now in the next couple of weeks or this next month, that we just kind of get a list to list the names of people together that do want to be more involved in running things, in whatever capacity, whether it's just like taking part. And I think, again, part of what Jeff said too is like the idea that being involved in the group is just being in the group, like showing up and having a beer and talking to people. And, that's a good way to just kind of be involved with stuff. So I don't know, the other, so like Tom or Andy, I don't know if you guys have any input or any thoughts about anything that you want to talk about?
I guess I didn't really know what to expect coming into this. I just mainly joined it just because, I've been coming to Highbury on and off for, 5 or 6 years now. And, I just always see you there doing like all the work, hanging up everything, talking to everybody. And, I just thought, see if anybody need any help doing anything, whether it's, bringing food in for the games or, you want somebody to start singing some of the songs, or other stuff. I guess I just wanted to try and help out.
Okay. Well, no, it's like, yeah, I really, I appreciate it. And I'm sorry if this might have been deep in the weeds here for the last hour for you, but I mean, I really, I appreciate that 100%. And like, that's kind of what we're talking about, like just names, trying to collect, just get names of people that are looking to do that. And even then, you don't have to, it doesn't have to be like a thing. Like you have to be some kind of elected official, to just help out with that stuff that you're talking about. But, you could be on the list, just on the list of names of people that we know, that we can count on, or maybe people could message you or say something, so I appreciate, like I said, I 100% appreciate that, where you're coming from. So Andy, what are you thinking about any of this stuff, man?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea to try to over, I don't know, the next couple of weeks or so, get a sense of, who's there, who's available to help out, who has an interest in that. One of the other things I was kind of thinking of as we were talking through this was, you mentioned your buddy who just wants to go and watch the game and drink, and that's pretty much it. And maybe that's something else we can do over the next couple of weeks, is kind of gauge a sense of, is that everything that people want, or do they want more? If there's a big appetite for doing things in the community, or I don't know, making t-shirts every year so we all have matching t-shirts and something like that. Maybe there is a big appetite for that. Maybe there's not. And, maybe the amount of board members we ultimately need, or the amount of people that need to be involved, is kind of dependent on really what the larger group expects and wants out of it.
And I think that's a good idea. I mean, we could, I know part of the problem, because I'm right? So I'm a high school teacher, and I've been involved in way too many meetings and bureaucratic things, and I know how this goes. And maybe we need to have some kind of just like a survey that we give out to people, at the Highbury. Maybe that's too annoying. I don't know. Maybe that's like, people don't want to deal with that either, but it's like, what do you want, or what are you looking for, or what are you willing to do, or what are you interested in? What kind of stuff do you care about? Like, are you interested in this? Are you not really interested in this? Because it is difficult to try to gauge what people want. I agree with you. Like, that is the hard thing, is when you're trying to talk about names of people to be involved. Like, for me, at least anyway, like, people, if somebody really, like, if somebody wants to, like, if somebody feels in their heart, like, I want to be involved in running this group. Like, if somebody feels that in their heart, I want them to have a chance to do that. I don't know specifically names of people who right now want to do that. I don't know. I suspect a few people, at least based on some of the things I said, but like, I don't know how many people are involved. So even if we, at this point, I think that we could say, we could, if we want to do something like a survey, just ask people what they're looking for. We can put that out there. That could be put out on the Facebook group, and it could be put, like, paper copies, just like brought to the bar for people to fill out if they're interested. Otherwise, I mean, like I said, I agree. I agree that it's difficult to come up with specific ideas when we're not exactly sure what people want or what they're willing to do for that. So I think that maybe part of that process is just trying to collect a firm group of names of people that want to put themselves in there, or that are interested in that. I'm not saying, like, I guess here's the thing, right? Like, I'm by no means am I saying I'm 100% on board with people having their voice and other people being in charge. Absolutely. I don't know if I want to keep doing this, what I'm doing, for the long term, right? So I want there to be somebody else that I know would be willing to do some of that stuff. And if it's 3 or 4 people, whatever, it's going to be maybe an easier sell for a casual group, because that's what this should be, right? It's just fun. Theoretically, it's just supposed to be fun. So it shouldn't be work. Yeah, go ahead, Marty.
To Matt, or to Andy's comment, to Andy's thing. I'm like you, Matt. I'm introverted. I really, I go over there to just hang out and have fun. I made some good friends, whatnot at the Highbury, whatever. So I'm not one to go up and talk to people and ask, but like, I mean, like Andy said, if there's someone in this group or maybe somewhere else that on match day, right? So you just go around and say, hey, I see you, or if you know them or whatnot, go, kind of that person that does that goes, we're, Brew City Gunners, whatever. I've seen you here a bunch of times. We're doing this. Would you like to be more involved? And then they'll just go no. And if they go yes, then you take their name down and go. And Matt, you shouldn't be doing that because I know that's so. So somewhere along the line, to get that going, right, and figure it out. And granted, I don't. Saturday is going to be a lot of people because it's Brighton, but
Right.
it's a good start.
Yeah, I think it's maybe if we have something, like I said, maybe if we have something written down on paper or something that just says, fill this out if you're interested, or what do you want to see? Or
That's kind of cringy. That seems be it at least.
Hey Matt.
Mhm.
I know that some of what spurred a lot of this was a conversation somebody had with you about things they didn't like, and obviously you've had some time to think about that. I obviously don't know about those things. That's irrelevant to me. Are there some things that you think we should be doing differently or better that you want help with or you want to change? I mean, I understand where you're coming from, that you can't do everything and you don't want to be responsible for doing everything for forever, and I think that that's perfectly reasonable. But I guess that's what I don't understand. I mean, I guess I'm kind of trying to be a little bit of a problem solver. Again, we talked the other day, and if there's a problem, I'm more than happy to try to help with a problem. But it
Sure.
seems like we're
I think
don't know where we're going. It's hard to hit a target when you don't know what it is.
what I'm thinking of, like I said before, just what I would like to see is, like I said, I would like to see any organization you want to see there be some kind of a transition plan in place. A way for people that are interested in stepping up to be able to step up, to have a transition of people. If somebody wants to step down or if somebody wants to step up, that there's a continuity of the group. I know that for some people, and like I said, I know that some people, for them, the group is just showing up, and that's all the group is to them, and that's fine. If that's all it is, that's 100% fine. I feel more connected maybe than some. I know that some people don't care about Arsenal America, don't care about any of that stuff. I feel more connected to that just because to me, it's like an officially recognized direct line to the team that we have. Like, it's not like we're just a fan club that meets in a bar. Like, we have a connection to them, which means something to me. I know that for some people, they don't care. It doesn't matter to them, and all the structure stuff and all the other stuff, it doesn't matter. So for me, like what I like I said, what I would like to see at least happen is, if people can, to work on the match, the bar atmosphere, the introducing people, the meeting people, the talking to people, the welcoming people, the singing, the just building up the atmosphere to make it a place that, if you like Arsenal and you live in this area, that you are going to make an out of the way effort to come here because of the people that are there. That's really the only thing that I care about. So that's the number one priority for me. The other stuff is anything else, if people have, because like I said, there are some people, and I'm not, the people that have said this stuff to me, I haven't seen and haven't really talked to them specifically. So I don't know exactly what they're feeling or what they're thinking or whatever. Like I said, I know that some people have expressed some frustration. They want the group to be a social, like, force for community stuff, like Toys for Tots, or fundraiser for whatever, or whatever the case may be. I know some people are interested in that aspect of things, and that's not where my passion for this lies. Like, I'm happy to donate to a cause, but I don't have the passion or drive to organize things like that, especially not on like a constant basis, because it's just not where my head's at. So, if there are people that feel that way, like they feel and they want the group to be more of like a socially, positive thing, rather than just being a group of people that watch beer in a bar, which, again, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I want those people to have a feeling like they can do what they want to do, and have decisions being made by people, I guess, like I said, where it's not just coming from one person making decisions about what happens. So at that point, like I said, I understand what you're saying, and I know it's nebulous. I feel it. I know what you mean. I know what you're talking about. I'm sure everybody else kind of feels the same way. So that's, I guess, for me, I think if we want to just go by what, kind of taking everything into effect, because I don't want to keep you guys here any longer than we have to. And I appreciate everybody being here, by the way. Thank you for coming. For those people that do want to be more involved as far as just helping things run and helping the atmosphere, like, just do those things, right? Like, just be there, bring donuts, bring a treat, bring look at the songs, like, whatever, just like, be that person. If you have a great idea, if you want to do something, like market or like design something or sell a hat, or have a shirt made, or if you want to do something like that, feel 100% step up. And I want there to feel like there's people that can do that and help that happen, again, rather than just be me that has to make those choices and decisions. Ultimately, I guess, like I said, we want to make sure that we're just having fun. We want to have fun, right? We want to make it the best place we can make it, and be the best group of people that we can make it. So if there are any other people, we'll try doing that. Right now, I think that we could just say in general that we're looking for 3 to 5 people. If we can't find 3 to 5 people that are willing to put their name in, then we're going to have to go back and reevaluate what we're doing, because that's, it's all, a lot of times it's really easy to say something and it's more difficult to do something. So if we don't get those other names, then we'll have to just kind of take a step back, and maybe it'll be 2 people, or maybe it'll be just 3 people, or maybe it'll be, whatever.
Matt.
Yep.
Matt, I'm fairly confident we can find 4 other people, including in addition to you, to do this. The most important thing, again, is we need to get the structure in place. So, knock on wood, you don't get hit by a truck, right? The other important, because if you did, then it'd be in the same situation. Plus, and then the next thing, once we figure out who those are, the next thing is need to at least have a sort of account on, or names on the Brew City Gunners funds, just so if you get hit by a truck, they're not in probate. Those sort of things. I personally do not want to be involved other than getting this off the ground. I mean, I will bring, as I always have, I'll bring food and stuff like that. But yeah, and I'll add my 2 cents if someone asks me. But my main goal in being here is to one, have this little structure set up so that it's not all on you, right? Right, because that's it. I 100% think that the reason the few people have problems is because it's all on you, right? And that's what we're trying to alleviate here. And it's not just asking if there's 4 other people involved. It's going to be 4 other people making the whole thing better, right? And that's so my goal I don't want to be part of the board. My goal is just to get that thing over the line. I've set up boards for, you know, charities and other sort of things, and I've been on boards, you know, associate board of the vet school in Madison, associate board at the Zoological Society. Those are a little bit more formal, but it's essentially the same idea, is that people on the board step up and do things and recruit other people to help them do what they want to do. And that's
Sure.
really it. So let's get it over the line. Let's not wait till November 15th, right? Let's maybe we don't have to go at supersonic speed, but we don't want to wait until, you know, Boxing
Sure.
Day, right?
Yeah, I think that, like I said, I think that we can get, at this point, you know, we need to get those names. We need to get the names of whoever these other people are going to be. And it needs to be concrete. It needs to be brought forward, whoever it is. If they're, you know, holding out, whatever, we need to know who they are. And as soon as possible. So, you know, I'll put that out. We'll put that out there. You know, and anybody else, like I said, the rest of you guys, I appreciate you being here. I know that you probably didn't really want to get involved in all this deep in the weeds kind of stuff. But anything else, like I said, the other stuff that we talked about, just I'm glad to see it. You know, I'm glad to see you guys every week. I'm glad to start seeing some new faces, like, you know, like I said, you know, Andy and, you know, Nick. I've seen you guys a lot the last couple weeks, and I appreciate you guys being there. You know, Tom, seen you there before. You know, there's a few other new faces that I've seen before, new recently, that, you know, I try to keep track of as many people as I can. But it kind of sucks that I am sometimes not really great with names. But I guess like,
I'm horrible with names too. For the
I'm
longest
gonna
time.
leave it. So let's just leave it at this, because it's almost 8:30 here, and we've been doing this for a while. So I'm gonna put that out there, that we need these names of people that want to be decision-making people. If they want to step forward, then they need to put their name on the dotted line, and it needs to be made public, and it needs to happen, and they need to be able to come to meetings, and they need to be able to, you know, get in on the discussion. I know, obviously, you know, Sarah, I'm not sure if she wanted to do this or not, but she, you know, her child was sick, so I'm not going to blame anybody for not being here in those kind of situations. But just in general, though, anybody else, if somebody else is interested, barring any kind of sickness or injury or whatever, we need to know who they're going to be. I think if we want to decide, like you said, I'll just say right now, if you want to decide on 3 people, and maybe, you know, 2 other, what do they call them, alternates or whatever,
Matt,
or at large.
Yeah. I think for the size of our, that's why I asked how big the Boston Gooners was, is because then I knew he was going to tell us how big his board was. So based on that, and, you know, doing rough math, you know, 3 + 2 is probably more than sufficient. And I honestly, from my gut feeling, that we'll have more than 4 other people that start helping you out.
Okay.
Hey, Matt.
So, yeah.
When do you think we're going to have another event or another game that you think you're expecting a pretty high turnout for?
Well, let me look at the calendar here for a second. I'm sorry, I don't have
question.
this. So yeah, Brighton probably not so much. I mean, let me see. I mean, the Palace game, not really, and that's on a Monday anyway. I mean, then the 30th is Leicester, and then then it's Watford.
Yeah,
Liverpool
I
on
mean,
the
it's not worth putting
20th.
it off anything
Yeah,
past,
the
like,
20th of
Saturday.
November, maybe. I mean, that's a while away. That's like Liverpool, but yeah. So
I mean,
might be.
You know, again, I guess my thought was, if we thought we were going to have a good turnout, you know, we could basically say, hey, folks, can you at halftime, we're going to spend, 5 minutes out on the sidewalk, trying to talk about a few things. Do you want to kind of come out here and again, we want everyone involved. We want everyone's voice to be heard and respected. And, we're just trying to make this, the best experience for everybody. And we're hoping for your input to help us do that.
Yeah, I think that's doable, but I think that at this point, it might be, it might just be something that has to be done like whenever, as far as like whether it's this Saturday, maybe we can start asking people, and maybe it'll have to be through like the next 1 or 2 weeks, regardless, because the matches aren't going to be that big of a draw for like quite a long time.
And maybe we need to try to set a goal as to when we'd like to have this done by.
Yeah, I think that originally we were talking about trying to start doing this by October, which obviously seems a little ambitious at this point. So I would say at this point, by the end of October, by, that last week, that we have at least a list of names and we have people that are willing to stand up, and, and then whether or not we're going to need to have a vote, whether or not we're going to have to do any of that kind of stuff, that's going to be a different story. Because again, it's kind of like, we'll have to figure all that stuff out too, as far as where that goes. So at this point, I think let's just try to get those names.
Okay.
Go ahead, Matt. Yeah. So I like the idea of let's put it out there that we're looking for 5. Let's just say 5 people that are willing to step up and help, be decision makers, be kind of be the not run, but be the group that helps Brew City Gunners be the best they can be. And if you're willing to step up, blah blah blah, whatever. Maybe Matt, you make a Facebook post for that, and then I know any of you that are here today, if you see someone that you're talking to at the bar that you don't recognize, or even someone who's here that ask them, hey, do you want to do this, or would you do this? And just so then we can do that, like I was saying. Matt, you should. I don't think you should. Yeah, just because you're what you were talking about, your introvert thing. If you want to, you can, but I think that we should just let that all just lie on Matt's, lap.
Yeah, and there's other people
too, but I'm not going to go up to people I don't know. That's
yeah, like I said, there's a few other people that have kind of been, like I said, I've seen the last couple of weeks like really be kind of like those people pushing kind of like to get things done. Like I said, like, oh, let's take a picture. Oh, let's do this. Let's do that. So I'll try to talk to Julio, who I know had been doing some of that stuff, and try to get him on board with that too. But so I know that might not be satisfying to some people who want progress or whatever being made, but I think at this point, that's about the best that we can do. So let's just end this right now, because like I said, I appreciate you guys being here. There's a lot of time being taken up, so I definitely appreciate all you guys. I'm gonna buy every one of you guys a beer on Saturday if you're there. So just come out of the group fund. Just kidding.
Progress is made, Matt. Progress is made.
Okay. Yeah, I think that we at least
talk to you guys later.
Got some sense. Yeah. Thanks, Marty. Thanks all you guys. I'm sorry, like I said, I know lots of stuff, lots of talk, lots of listening. So I appreciate it. And definitely, like I said, if you're there on Saturday, I'm gonna buy you a beer. So don't let me forget.
I won't.
I'll try to weasel out of it. I will. That's how I am.
I'll see you.
See you Saturday.
All right. See you
I'll
later,
see you
man.
on
Marty,
Saturday.
we need some pierogies one of these days too.
Ooh.
Oh, that's coming up in November sometime.
Okay.
So, yes.
Yeah, if you haven't ever had any of his pierogies, it's worth being there for. All right, cool. Thanks, guys. Thanks again. Really
Thank
appreciate
you.
I'll let
everything.
it.
Yeah.
Bye. Bye.
Take care.
Take care, everyone.